Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today with episode 126 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is me, the LoneVaultWanderer.
And it's me, Karak with ACG.
How's it going, everybody? We are back. We took a week off. I was gone the week after. I am sick now, so that's fun. So I'm going to sound like shit all episode, but we're here. We're together. We're a family again. That's all right.
Forgive the audio listeners every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just fucking honking.
I'm just fighting TB over here. It's no big deal.
So what have you guys been up to lately? Got to do a little catch up on the show. We caught up before, but now
we can do it. We can do it live. I've personally been playing a hell of a lot of Mario Rabbids. I need 100% that game. I think it'd be a crime not to. I've just started Evil Within and dealing with YouTube demonetization.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yeah, did you see that Ubisoft Milan announced, which is the group that did the Rabbids, announced a major expansion as well as on something? They announced it this morning. Yeah,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, so
good on them. They deserve it. You know,
Lone and I were like, what would they? I mean, what would they do? What
Bring
other
Mega
things
Man.
could be done? Yeah. Oh, he had an idea. I can't remember what it was last week that I thought was really good, and then this morning somebody told me Princess Peach survival mode, and I was like. It would be awesome if like Far Cry Primal and Princess Peach mixed together. But there's really good ideas out there of what they can mix. For me, it's just reviews. I got Cuphead done. I got Forza 7. And
I gotta say, Karak, you've been doing like 10 reviews a day, it seems. Every time I open up my YouTube app, it's
because I got review. The only Patreon I support right now is Karak's, and anytime I open up my email,
drugs.
It's just like
he's just giving me money for drugs.
Review. I'm like,
exactly.
Like, damn.
Yeah.
How is Cuphead, by the way? Apparently, it's excruciatingly hard.
It is. It's easily one of the hardest games I've played in the last couple of years, but I would say it's easily also one of the best, like top 3 in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Games. But I like hard games. Remember, I mean, if a game is like warns you, then I'm usually the first person who's like, okay, that's a challenge, bitch. So, but this challenge kicked my ass. Cuphead even has a well that you walk up to that tells you how many times you've died, and it like does a rhyme. And I saw 25, and I'm like, wow, that's high. And then once I saw 125, I was like, okay, I know what type of game this is. Oh, dude,
holy shit.
Deaths are it's unbelievable, and the way the bosses work they have patterns, but they come out randomly. So like they'll have multiple waves. But wave 1, 2, 3, 4 isn't how it happens. It can be wave 1, 2, 3, 4. If you die on 4, the game has a higher chance of starting on 4. So it will. So you'll be like, I don't know how to handle this guy, and the fucking next fight, it's that guy and that wave, and you're just like, holy shit.
It's different because I remember when I demoed that game about a year and a half ago or something. I was at PAX. I tried it out, and I was just like, this is really fucking difficult. Like, do they have to tweak it or something? They're like, no, we want it to be this hard. And I was just like, okay, this is this type of game.
This is legit, yeah. And how long does it take to finish, might I ask?
Well, that's the problem. It depends, because you do die so often. So here is the exact post I just got about 5 minutes ago. And it says, Karak isn't lying. I spent 1 hour defeating one boss in Cuphead. It's hard as nuts. Also, if your nuts are hard, you should probably get your doctor to check those. But seriously, you're talking about probably. It depends how good you are.
I saw up to 20 hours somewhere.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it could be anywhere from like 12 to 40 hours if you're a type of person who isn't the greatest but really wants to do it. And the problem is, the game has a normal mode or an easy mode and a hard mode. Easy mode is most games hard. That's without a doubt.
Wow.
But guess what? That mode doesn't actually get you farther in the game. You can't even unlock the later bosses unless you do normal. And normal, you're like, oh, easy, normal. And then you do easy, and you're like, this is fucking nut crunching. Like, it can't be this hard. And
like, how the fuck hard is normal?
Yeah, and then you put it on normal, and you're like, oh my God, are you? And there were times where I never got mad, which is rare. There were times where I didn't know what to do with myself when I died, because I would get confused. My brain would be like, that is physically fucking impossible.
I'm just going to go have some tea, relax, and we'll come back and reconsolidate. Yeah.
That's great. And one of the most beautiful games that's ever I mean, Ori and the Blind Forest, is good in a different way, but this is almost scary good looking.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Congrats to Microsoft, exclusive for them. They paid the entire development, and it's only $20. Yeah. So not a bad.
I don't know if I'm gonna play it. I don't know if I have time to play it, but because I'm playing Divinity Original Sin 2 and I'm playing Danganronpa V3, 2 of my most anticipated games. I was like, I'm set. It's a good time to be me. I was like, I might buy Cuphead just to support the devs because I know they've busted their ass for years on it. But I don't know if I'll have it in my schedule to play it, especially with all the reviews we're gonna be doing coming up. It's about to be that month, October. That
I was just gonna say. I mean, last night on stream, I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna organize all the games that I want to play over the next couple of months. There's no way, and it so happens that next couple of months I'm traveling a lot. So it really sucks, but I'll have my Switch with me. So Odyssey, LA Noire, Skyrim, they're going to be my go-tos.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect segue, you bringing up Skyrim. Let's talk about this new survival mode. Lots to discuss.
New, not new.
New to PS4 players because Xbox One, PC, they both have Frostfall. I need campfires. These are all mods that create the Fallout, the Skyrim survival experience. So I don't have the Bethesda page in front of me right now, but it comes with a lot of what's similar to Fallout 4 survival mode, what's similar to Frostfall survival mode. You know, you have to manage your clothing. You have to, go to fires to warm up. It's kind of like Breath of the Wild in that way. You have to eat, you have to sleep. Those are the things that are similar to Fallout 4. So, it is a true survival experience. Here's the hitch. Bethesda showed it in the trailer during E3. It was 500 Creation Club credits, so that means it's $7.99.
It was 500 in the trailer.
Yes. And now Creation Club has dropped on Skyrim, and they have moved it to 800 credits. 50 outside of that 750 credit threshold, which was at the $7.99 price point. So now, if you want to buy it, you gotta spend $15. With that said, you can get it for free for a week. If you get it during that week, it's permanently free, but after that, you're paying $15. Thoughts, gentlemen? Thoughts on this?
Multiple currencies. We've talked about it. It fucking sucks because the translation from one currency to another is like selling something to somebody in Russia. It's not.
Oh, his face froze at the perfect time.
They were going to do this.
Oh, there we go. You here?
We're still back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you popped for a second, but we know they were going to do this. So, it doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm shocked just because we saw them going down this path with, I'd say with the review policy. It was the most telling sign to me. I was like, they're moving towards anti-consumer decisions with that. But I'm just kind of shocked, that they just a year and a half ago gave away, actually it might be less than that, gave away exact same mode as a free update for Fallout 4. And it's like now they're selling it for $15.
I mean, that was the subject of my video, because I can't really talk to anything else available under this Creation Club because I haven't played much Skyrim. But the Fallout 4 survival mode, it's pretty much the exact same. Like, there are differences where, for example, in Fallout you have radiation and Skyrim you have cold and weather and stuff like that. So those are the differences, but practically they're the exact same modes. But with Fallout 4 it was a free update. And I get that we had survival mode already in Fallout 4, but it wasn't the same. It was that free update that made it what it was. And I can't, I don't know, guys. I just gotta wonder, like, how is this gonna? Okay, let's look at Starfield. Are they going to do maybe what they did with Skyrim? We're not gonna do survival mode, but we can sell it. Starfield. We're not gonna do a space survival mode, but we'll sell it in the Creation Club for $20. Well, someone mentioned this to me.
Sorry. I was just gonna ask real quick. Who made it though? Is it a modder or is it one of them?
Same. It's a modder.
We don't. At least as far as I know, we don't know officially who it is, but it's believed to be by Chesco, same guy who made Frostfall.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's getting some money, I guess.
Yeah. That's the positive.
Good on Chesco. I mean, honestly, deserves to be paid. But
absolutely. It's one of the most downloaded mods on Skyrim. It's just that I feel bad because like he's making a good mod, and then Bethesda's like, all right, $15. Like,
and someone mentioned this to me the other day. I mean, wasn't it Metro Last Light or the Redux that tried to sell a hard Ranger mode or whatever it was, and then it ended up giving it for free?
Yep. Hard Ranger.
So I hope we see the same with this, because I couldn't comprehend how just a year ago it was free with Fallout 4, and now it's $8 or 15 or however you want to describe it. The point is, it's not free, and I'd think I'd still have problems with this even if we didn't get Fallout 4 survival mode for free last year. I'd still say, well, this is probably still too expensive. I mean, it's almost half of the price of Far Harbor. No, not Far Harbor, of Nuka World, because Far Harbor was 25. But the fact that we just got that for free last year, it just, I'm like, what happened here? Like,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Like, I'm literally speechless.
Especially you and I just went to an event. Like, we played some pretty good games. We're like, all right, the games are good.
The games are good.
It's just like, what's happening
good.
Consumer decision-wise? It's fucking ridiculous.
I have a question. Let's say this guy, what's his name? Can you remind me of the modder, please?
Chesko.
Let's say Chesko releases a Creator Club version, and they call it Survival Max or something. I don't know. They change the name. And they indicate that it's got like 4 new things you need to do, 5 new things you need to do, different elements. How many elements in addition do you guys think is fair to then look and go, okay, they've got the normal version that's free and it's got some stuff, but he's made a version that with the money they're paying him, he had some more time, so he did a couple things maybe he didn't have the money for before. What would you guys want? Let's say if I said, what's a survival mode you would pay for from him? What other things would you guys want for that survival mode that would make it worth it?
And see, that's the thing. I mean, the only way that it would be more palatable is if we got something that wasn't currently available for free. And I know that's hard, but with Frostfall, it's as far as I can see, it's pretty much the exact same. And I don't think adding a few little fetch side quests are going to fix that, to be honest.
No, but there are other ways in which you can worry about survival. So I'm saying, are there other things you could add? Does it do? I don't know this.
I don't think it's going to affect it, because essentially they have added a few little things that are slightly different, but they're different because Skyrim is a different game to Fallout. So with diseases and if you swim in water, you get frozen. You know what I mean? Like there are those small differences that they've added, but it's not.
You just don't see enough like dangers out there that he could add.
It's still a survival mode. That's my.
Oh, I know it is, but I mean, we also have been okay with games that charge nothing for 1 car, but then 5 cars. You're like, okay, that's worth it. That's what I'm trying to do, is find out.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Is there some floor where you guys would say, okay, I get it now. But it sounds like there's not. And let's be honest, you can't be worried about. If you're already worried about freezing and all this kind of stuff, maybe there's no other dangers that you can add that make sense.
Durability. That could have been something they could have added. Skyrim doesn't have durability.
Oh, durability.
Durability. Okay. That's something they could have added. I mean, my way of looking at it is, regardless of what they add, I think most consumers would still look at it as a survival mode as a whole. So they'd say, one survival mode is free, this one is not. I know you should take responsibility, take a deeper look at it, but for me, it's just like, I mean, there's only so much not only so much, but they could add a couple of things, but to me, I don't know if it would justify $15, especially like I've looked at, for example, we'll look at Skyrim's DLC because it is Skyrim. Let's say it's on special edition, so it comes with the DLC. Then we'll look at Fallout 4's DLC. You spend $5 more, you get Nuka World, 10 more, you get Far Harbor. Or what I did for a video was I went to the, because PlayStation 4 players are going to be the most impacted by this because it's most appealing to them. Yeah. So I'm like, let me go on GameStop. Let me look at the $20 and under section. Let's see what games you can get for $15. And it was like The Last of Us, The Witcher 3, Uncharted 4 was $10, I think. Like, what else was there? There was one more. I can't think of it right now, but there were all these top tier games you could get for the same price. Granted, they're used, older titles. I think Mad Max was $10. So, there's so much more if you reallocate that money somewhere else that, you can get. So that's why I looked at it side by side, gave it all the angles, and I'm like, this just is overpriced. Simple as that.
And I've had a problem with the pricing on the Creation Club for a while, and I said in my video, this is just the most egregious example because we're literally comparing something that was free to something that's paid. I mean, it was always a bit more murky ground when you compared a $20 DLC or a $25 DLC to a $5 item or whatever it was. I still think you could absolutely make that argument, but here, like, I just don't know what happened to where they said, you know what, in this instance, we're going to charge for it. And maybe if they had Creation Club available at the time, they would have charged for the Fallout 4 one too. And I still think they would have got the same reaction.
The reason why I'm actually arguing this is because I just recently had a discussion where somebody sort of enlightened me on something, and I'm not saying I even agree with them, but where we were discussing that the fact that they're charging for something that is free is actually the very definition of how mods work. And if they're now charging, then it becomes a company-created thing like a DLC or an expansion, and you do pay for those. And everything in gaming that allows for mods has something where it's free in one place and where maybe you pay the company somewhere else, whether it be armor or so forth. Because we had, or Shivering Isles, or an expansion. Look at the expansion for Skyrim that one kid made, Foulscar or whatever, and that was free, right? At that time, I think it might be charged now, but so it's interesting to me to sort of find out, like, how we define that it's just unacceptable.
I think,
and what we could add to make it, or what they could add to make it or make it acceptable.
When it comes to, now we'll just talk generally about Bethesda Game Studios games, because when it comes to their titles like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, I think the reason people will justify most times paying for that official content is because we know it's adding to the overall universe, the overall story. Like with Fallout, when we know we're getting that new paid expansion to take us to a new area, we're going somewhere new in the United States that we've never seen before, and we get to see what happened in this state that, you know, that expands the overall universe. Same thing, I guess you could say with Elder Scrolls, when you go to a new isle or a province during that time period, what's happening in, we'll say, Morrowind during the time of Skyrim. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying, where I think that's why some people will justify paying for it, where I love Beyond Skyrim Bruma. I'm still dilly-dallying in it just because it's so fun and replayable. But, you know, that's free. It also is kind of a recreation of, or actually, no, I'm sorry. It is Bruma during Skyrim's time period. That was a much better example. And so that's fun, that's free, but it would be interesting to see Bethesda take on it because, you know, that's being officially counted into the universe. So I think to myself, that's probably why people try to justify, but, you know, that's paid content. We're talking about a difficulty here. So I don't know. I think just the issue is that it was originally offered free. And if, like Lone said, they decided with Fallout 4, if Creation Club was out then, we would have charged then, they probably would have had the same issue just because when you start up the game, it always had that survival difficulty there. So it was always
but if you want the true survival difficulty,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. So. Look, I've said this, and I want to say it again. The only way Creation Club is palatable for me, just imagine this, all right? Imagine when Creation Club was launched, there were like 3 new big quests, and nothing else, and each of them was like $10 each. I don't think everyone would have been happy because they would have been like, well, I can get this quest on Nexus for free. And I get that. But especially for console players that maybe have a restriction in that regard, having 3 new awesome side quests that are re-envisioned by modders, that would be much better to me. And then, you know, if someone's experiencing, I don't know, I can't even think straight.
Same. It just runs my head in a circle. I'm like, how did it come to this? I lose my train of thought all the time.
And it's honestly, let's be honest, guys, it is Bethesda's version of microtransactions. They've hid it in the same way a microtransaction is hidden, which is a at least dual, if not triple currency. It's done on purpose, and it's their version of microtransactions, and they're getting away with it because they're calling it something else. And I would guarantee you they won't be the last one to say that they're adding a mods kind of system to their game. It will absolutely will not be the last one to do it.
That's what I said to people. I'm like, because some people are like, yo, Maddie, you're pandering. You're just saying fuck Bethesda because other people are. I'm like, give me a break. It's just my opinion. But, you know, because the more you enable this, the more it's going to happen in other games. You may not care now. You may think it's not that big of a deal. Watch. Just watch. That's what I say to people. I'm like, you just keep enabling it. You go ahead and buy it thinking you're one of the few. It's not a big deal. You know, you keep saying, like, it's okay. No, it's not.
I think the only real problem is what we just ran into when I asked you guys the question is that everybody's ideal of a level or a moral is different. And so I don't feel comfortable saying don't buy it, because I don't know what that person's enjoyment level is. I don't know, like, if my personal belief is it should be cratered, just fucking neutered and removed. I don't like it at all. But I think that's pretty black and white. Some people would agree, and some people would be like, no, it'd be okay if. And I think that's the problem is, I mean, I agree with you, Maddie, but I'm sure there's times where if I do something, you might go, and if you did something, I'd be like, but really, are we right? I mean, on this, yes. But on but on other situations, maybe not so much. On this one, for sure, yes. Don't let anybody argue. This is dumb. But I'm not even trying to be the devil's advocate. It's just because
it's good to have the perspective.
There's so many microtransaction systems out there that it's becoming hard to notice when somebody does something legitimate. And there are companies that do, including Bethesda in the past, that have had legitimate expansions, legitimate DLC,
that's
whatever.
The other sad part.
And it's hard to know what's legitimate and what's not.
No, absolutely. It's really hard to know what's kosher, and especially when you look at the internet and
find that word?
Some
Never
people
heard that.
Kosher?
Kosher.
Yeah.
Jewish for foods they can eat, right? Isn't that what it is? Yeah.
It's
Sorry,
okay.
I apologize.
It's
I sound
okay.
uneducated there. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I was watching Scrubs, and that's where that phrase came from.
There we go.
I feel like but it's hard to know, especially when, for example, I might think that the loot box system in Overwatch is okay because it's just cosmetic. But then someone else might think, like, it's like Jim Sterling, for instance, he just hates microtransactions. Like, even if it's cosmetic and doesn't affect gameplay, he'll still have that view. And a lot of people will still have that view. So it's really hard to know what's actually right. Like, there's a lot of people that have the stance that if a game is full priced at $60 or whatever it is, then it just shouldn't have microtransactions. But then some people are like, well, no, I don't mind microtransactions so long as it's not pay to win. There's this entire spectrum, and no one's ever going to be completely happy here. And I think a publisher has to just accept that, but still try their best to reach a compromise. And I just don't think that's been done here, to be honest.
And also, now that I think about it, I brought up microtransactions, and technically I shouldn't have, because no one is modding a loot box into a game, but they are modding swords in. So so microtransaction is technically different than I shouldn't have mentioned that. I think I just gave a really bad example, because technically most of the time microtransactions that I'm talking about are like Overwatch style loot boxes, which Forza 7 supposedly will have in the future and stuff. Or at least there's different degrees of that too, I guess. It sucks.
I think it's situational. It depends in a way where you'll see, for me, I'm pretty accepting of Overwatch's loot boxes because I don't see Blizzard really reaching hard. I see Bethesda like, let's move this 50 points above the cheapest price package so they have to spend double the price. Like, that's where I'm like,
totally
that's ridiculous.
Unacceptable.
Exactly. I go, that's really silly of you. So that's where I guess the differences start to play in. I'm sure there's bias for a lot of people on what companies they like to support. For me, I love Overwatch so much, and reason they'll say the reason that support keeps coming in is because of the microtransactions. So, can you consider them a necessary evil at times? Yeah, it's a case by case basis. One thing you say about one microtransaction system, a lot of times might not apply to the next one, just because, like Karak said earlier, there's so many differences, multiple currencies. It's like, would Creation Club be better if Bethesda allowed like a new challenge system and they accounted for your achievements and you unlocked credits through that and then you could afford them yourself? Would it be more acceptable? Would it be too grindy? It depends on the player then, right? So it's like, fuck.
Yeah, and it depends on the player, and then it also depends on the goodwill that the publisher and the developers built up too. I mean, maybe the reason why a lot of people are okay with Overwatch loot boxes is because everyone's everyone's really, really happy with how Blizzard has approached Overwatch in terms of its development and being open with fans and all that kind of stuff. So some people might be more accepting and actually willing to give their money because they've, adopted good business practices with their game preceding that. And then, I don't know, like, and maybe some other companies haven't gone down that route. And then some people are like, well, it's just X company being X company. You know what I mean? Like they're expecting that, and they're not, they're not accepting what they're trying to do because of what they've done in the past. So there's so many differences here. But at least when it comes to Bethesda, like, I like Bethesda games. I like Bethesda as a company. But even in that situation, I see this and say, guys, just a year before you did it for free. It's still fresh in our minds, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we forget. And the weird thing about Bethesda is they take that quiet guy approach. There's like, we did this, we're going to close our blinds, we're going to shut off our phones, we're just going to really separate ourselves from the situation and stick our head in the sands, it'll go away. And it's like, this one I don't think is going away personally. I mean, people
not this one
are mad. I can't possibly imagine it. Have you guys realized it's been like a month since this thing is launched? And look how quickly it's literally gone like... Not like it was good at first, but I'm just saying. It managed to get worse than what it already was.
It started low, right? It's like, you know, they're really good at making sure they don't get over the bar ever. I just think that when we look at it, it's a situation that with that company, that it probably a lot of it is just the expectation that Bethesda is getting worse and worse. So people look at it, more stringently, but also the fact that it was a really dumb move on their part. Two huge dumb moves. One, the charge price is absolutely the most ridiculous thing in the world. And anybody who understands 2 + 2 could have told you that that's a bad price. But additionally, you have Creation Club. You have a massive system in which you can offer unique things. And you continue to offer absolutely copies of things that are free. You haven't yet said, here's why. It's all, and this is the same question that comes up with Battlefield and Call of Duty. Why should I get this if I have this? Why should I get this? And right now, Bethesda, in any game, FIFA and another, soccer game or whatever, this happens all the time. Right now, no one's really said, oh, here's why Creation Club matters. Yeah. Because it doesn't. And that is really painful for, I think, a lot of gamers.
And also another thing as well. I mean, we mentioned Overwatch. At least with Overwatch, there is a way to get loot boxes just by playing. It might not be the easiest thing in the world, but every time you level up, you get a loot box.
They made it easier. They offered options. The arcade mode, like I think you get 9 boxes in a day or something like that, where you could hop on Overwatch for a little bit, get a bunch of loot boxes, and sign off.
And at least there's a way. And this is one of the suggestions that I had for Creation Club. Tie in these credits. If there is any benefit for having a credit system, a virtual currency system, it is that the publisher can say, here's 100 for everyone, because that's exactly what Bethesda did. They have the flexibility to say, if you've played the game for X number of hours, or you do X number of challenges, or complete X number of quests, you can get a certain amount of Creation Club credits. Yeah. And that incentivizes people to play their games. So it's, yeah.
I think what hurts most is that people are looking for that one piece of content from the Creation Club that, shows there's potential here. And you see this survival mode, then you find out it's pretty much the equivalent of Frostfall, and then you find out they're also charging an absurd price for it, and then you find out they tried to move it up even more, and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck, like the one thing that maybe could have showed that this system has potential is probably its worst blemish now.
Yeah. Would it be awesome, guys? It would be amazing if when we buy Skyrim 2, if they charge you for beard hair color like they do in NBA, because NBA 2K is the most egregious microtransactions I've ever witnessed in my life, and it's worse than almost any Android game I've ever played.
Want to hear a funny story?
I didn't have enough money to make sure that my hair and my fucking beard matched, because they charge you every time. So if you change from one beard to the other, you don't get to keep your old beard color. You have to rebuy it. You have to rebuy everything in that game. And to me, I hope Bethesda's do you want to be this race? Story. Give us $1.
I was out golfing a couple of weeks ago, and I was with a couple of my friends, and one of my friends has a younger brother. He's like, that younger gamer who plays GTA Online, plays NBA, and dumps all his money in those microtransactions. So we're on the course. I'm about to tee off. I hear his phone ring. I stop. I turn around. He picks up on speaker. He asks him what he wants. He's like, can I spend $50 on the NBA 2K microtransactions? And I'm like, oh my God. I look at Connor, one of my best friends, and I'm like, dude, he's part of the problem. And he started dying. I was like, I can't believe I just witnessed
crazy.
That type of shit. I'm like, people buy this stuff. I can't imagine it. I can't.
What did we spend? I mean, when we were younger, it was comics and all this kind of stuff. And I remember people telling me I was a video game player, Dungeons and Dragons, comics. People would say, I can't believe you spent, this and this. But I always had a physical item when I came home. And and that's what's weird here is like...
it was action figures.
Yeah, action figures. There you go. Me too as well.
Or like trading cards or something.
Yeah, too.
Yeah, or even toys. Like I would buy like He-Man or something. I would get something physical. And it is weird that they're asking, it sounds like their parent, if they can spend $50 to transfer it into a digital currency and get nothing back.
Mm-hmm.
It physical.
Yeah.
Like, can I give away my money so that my beard color matches my hair? Sure. And
that's
you're
why
like,
I loved Lego Dimensions, like because I thought to myself, all right, like you're getting something, and you can put it in game, and it's like actually there. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So there's hope. Kind of.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move
I mean,
on. What do you got?
No, just a closing note. I mean, that's why I kind of like amiibos, because you can just buy them as a collectible and have them there.
Skylanders. I think I have almost every Skylander. I absolutely love them, and they're collectibles, but they play in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you get something, you know. It sounds small, but it matters.
It matters.
It does. All right, next topic. A little more positivity injected into this podcast with Red Dead Redemption 2's latest trailer. We find out it's a prequel. What do you guys think?
Why is it called 2?
Dude, it
should be called the pre-sequel.
I'm gonna be honest. I know that sounds a little over dramatic. I can't stand it because it's so unnecessary. You know, it's like a clear. We're labeling it under Redemption because more people recognize it that way, and we just want more money and more brand recognition in general. So it pisses me off. But you know, the game itself. What do you guys think?
Go, Karak.
Go ahead, Lone.
No, I don't have much to say. Red Dead's gonna be one of my games that I play next year.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm super stoked. So I have tried to contact the voice actor for Marston a couple times to try to see, you know, if he's going to be in there, and he hasn't responded, which is fine. He may not be able to, or he may be out of the business completely. But it looks like there's a chance of like running into him. What's interesting to me is, so it's Red Dead Redemption 2. There isn't a subtitle, which surprised me, because like Maddie said, the name is dumb. But what I would love, and this is just me, it's not going to happen, but I would love one of two things. One, you begin the redemption of John Marston in this, where you're not playing him, but at the very end, maybe something your character does shows that John Marston needs to leave and go get married and then create the events of the original. Or two, in a way, John Marston is the major foil in the game. Like, has he already gone to the good side? Like, you know, there's ways you could play off of John Marston, and they haven't indicated any of this. Yeah. But what bothers me is it's got a sequel name, and if they don't put Marston in there either as a poignant moment, like right at the end, where like doo-doo-doo, and the guy comes in.
Like a Luke Skywalker kind of thing.
Correct. Well, and wouldn't it be awesome if maybe like you're dying or something, and he comes in and something happens that you remember from the first game, and you're like, okay, this is all making sense.
Yeah.
So to me, it looked amazing, you know, and it's got testicles on the fucking horses, which I guess people were really impressed by. It looks pretty good. It was all PS4 Pro. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the trailer, they said content coming first to PS4. What do you guys think about that one?
Oh, it's like expansion content or something?
Yeah.
Look, I want the game for PC. That's the one thing that still boggles my mind.
Yeah. Like, not only is there no PC port, then we got the exclusivity.
What's exclusive, though? Do we know?
It literally said content coming first to PlayStation.
So it's probably like
right
a month early DLC or something.
A month early DLC, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that kind of stuff isn't so... I mean, it sucks.
It's
but
the least worst, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. It's the monetization. It's the creation club where something is somewhat good and
like,
maybe...
I genuinely think that there's more of a chance that this comes to Switch before PC.
Jeez, imagine that shit. That'd be insane.
LA Noir's coming to Switch, so why not?
I mean, that game, when I saw the bow and arrow, I was like, this looks cool. You know, that was the one part that wowed me out of that whole trailer. Like, the whole time you could tell it was about Dutch's gang just because all signs pointed to it, that it was going to be a prequel, and they confirmed that, obviously. But, you know, am I the only one who's not super in love with Rockstar Worlds? Like, I just want to know, because I like their games like Bully, Max Payne, but like the worlds like GTA and Red Dead, I find myself like once the story's done, I lose interest. You know, I don't, because I feel like it's just because the games I love when it comes to open world are quest, NPC focused interactions, that type of thing, where you got the sandbox type of fun in Red Dead. I just want to know, am I alone on that?
Well, I stopped playing GTAs story mode pretty early on, and I don't know. To me, it's just like the city was beautiful, but it was a city.
Yeah,
I live in a city.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the difference with Red Dead though, because it's a Western style set game. It's nothing comparable like that. I think that makes it instantly more interesting to me versus a GTA.
Okay. What about you, Karak?
I'm more of a technical person, so I'm just impressed. Like GTA 5 has things in it that would blow your mind if you start reading like the top 100 weird things that can occur.
Your favorite.
Yeah, and I mean some of them though. It's probably one of the only top videos I've ever watched, but one of them was so crazy when they were talking about what was going on. I would say that, yeah, I like their worlds. So much so that LA Noire was really depressing because it was an open world. It pretended to be. Bully was fantastic. But GTA, I love GTA 5. I wasn't a fan of 4, but I think GTA 5 was incredible.
5 more.
And dude, Red Dead, I can't disagree in any way with Lone. That's exactly what I was going to say about Red Dead. I would hunt animals because it just sort of worked right, and I would just
I did the same.
Sounds stupid, but I would just ride my horse and listen to the music, and just at night you'd hear like as people were shooting each other, like, and I would be like, "What's happening? I'm going to get on my horse and investigate."
Sounds,
yeah. And I'm an idiot because nothing's happening. It's triggering a fucking digital sound. But to me, my brain was like, this is real. We need to go find out what's happening.
One of my favorite little details. Like I remember in GTA 5, it was just such a tiny thing, but once you get out of the car, like you can hear the engine still ticking as it turns off. It's just that little attention to detail. That's what I love about their games in general.
I don't know if you've ever used the mod Sounds of Skyrim. But it's just little things that adds to the game. I love it. I absolutely adore that mod. You know.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's. I mean, it's Red Dead, so I'm stoked to play it. I like the weather effects. They showed snow, the horses riding through the snow.
That was awesome.
In a mud, Louisiana kind of thing with crocodiles, alligators, whichever the one. GB just corrected me, so it would be alligators, I think. If I'm remember it right, but yeah, he knew the difference, and he was like, hey, what? But all these different locations, and they tried it in Red Dead. What was the really scary place in Red Dead that was bandit haven, like a bandit haven? It's one particular town where like it was people would be drugged behind horses and lynched right in front of you. I cannot remember the town's name. Thief's Landing.
Okay.
Thief's Landing. Thief's Landing, one of the two. And the thing, they tried it and it worked really well. That was a place I'll remember forever. So hopefully we get a bigger world, and a world where, you know, you have these really different ecosystems that are all running together.
I agree, because the first time I tried Red Dead, I tried it 4 times until I finally beat it, believe it or not. And it's just something with desert settings, to be honest with you.
So you don't like Red Dead, do you?
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's like I got through it. I was like, this is good.
It doesn't grab you.
It just,
fair enough.
And I'm a big universe guy. I love the unique stuff, and it's not that Red Dead isn't unique. I can already hear the screaming, but it's just that it's something about desert settings that has never grabbed me. Like I said the same thing about New Vegas. I love New Vegas, but I have to mod the shit out of my graphics because it's I like my color palettes, and I not that I'm like a big. It's gotta look pretty. It's just I need some color, because like my eyes just get fucking dry as shit, and it's like a pain to play games for me if there's no color. I don't know.
It's like an orange filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. You're not in any way, shape, or alone with that. I know people who don't like particular game worlds because of, you know, where it's set, desert, forest, whatever, and they may not like it. Some people like it because it's different, and then some people don't. I wasn't a fan of New Vegas at all, and I know you guys are. I don't like that game, and but I know you guys do.
Words.
But I get why people do, and I didn't like Fallout 3 either at the starting, and then once I played it a couple times. But they're different, and I think that there's a difference between Wasteland for somebody like Maddie. There's a difference between Wasteland and Desert too. Yeah, Wasteland, there's shit everywhere going. I mean, when you walk out, you're like, okay, there's 8 million points of interest right now. But when you walk out in Red Dead, if you aren't really understanding what they're trying to do, and not in a bad way, but or even just the way it's not even you look out and you're like, there's a bird.
Yeah,
that's all I see.
Like, this is really how the setting was, but in a video game.
Right. No, I get it, man. And I get it. It makes total sense. Makes total sense.
Yeah, it's strange. I think I'll like Red Dead 2 setting more, not just because of the variety, but like I remember always watching Wild West movies with my dad growing up and stuff. So it's like I think that'll trigger in me something that maybe didn't hit me well with Red Dead 1. I don't know. It's just strange. I wanted to see if I was alone on that. But overall, the trailer looks good. Game's looking great. It's coming out spring 2018. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might have talked about this on the last podcast where we were like, would they delay it during this announcement? Which is what I was sort of hoping they wouldn't do, but was worried about. But if they didn't say it during this... What is
your spring, by the way? What months?
Oh, April. March, April, May, usually.
I think so May is a Rockstar month, if I remember correctly.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, May Rockstar's done shit in May. So I'm assuming that's the last trailer we get about Red Dead this year. And then next year, the next trailer we get will be... That was only the second trailer we got for this game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's so talked about.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it was one red wallpaper that people lost their shit over.
You know, and you guys remember how much trouble they were in until Bezos came in and pulled their asses out of the fire. He's not there anymore. And so, and everybody knows just how much of a disaster Red Dead was right up until he showed up and fixed it. And so what I'm wondering is, like, how are the new producers... Maybe they're not going to release any, you know, they're just like, we're not going to talk about it or anything. It's going to be a mystery so that people can all talk, but there isn't any solidified view of what it's going to be, because it was a disaster, man. I mean, some of the stories that have come out from legitimate people at Rockstar are pretty crazy about what it goes. And that's why there was no PC version. I mean, if you believe this people who have leaked correct data about other stuff, they had basically said that the game barely ran on the 360, and I didn't have a lot of glitches, but if you guys have seen the glitch videos, there's one where the coach with the horses shoots into the sky like a rocket and just disappears, and I'm like, that literally never happened to me. So
that's so funny.
Yeah, so I think maybe Maddie's right, and this will be the last one until a month before or 2 months before the game releases.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a month before, because they just, you can already tell they know. They're like, everyone's buying this.
That's true.
And so this is just go. I mean, dude, put it this way: they released a trailer for what is it called, Smuggler's Run for GTA Online. I know this doesn't tell you, how many people bought the game solely for it, but 10 million views, 10 million views on a trailer for GTA Online 4 years after launch.
Remember that the last trailer for GTA broke the internet.
Yeah, that was it.
It actually, no, I don't mean the last one. I mean, the last trailer prior to the release of the game of GTA was so bad. At that time I was working at an education nonprofit where we had a backbone to the internet, and we couldn't figure out what had happened. And I went online because I was working with the IT guys, and it was like, boom. And we started looking, and it was the GTA trailer was watched so much that it was slowing down backbones everywhere because it was high. It was the first 1080p, big 1080p. Yeah. That's how much people like it, though, Maddie. Like,
no, I know.
And I remember going, "What's wrong? We can't even get online." And then it was like, it's just hammered to shit.
That's a great anecdote. That's awesome.
It's crazy, man. They're loved, dude. You're right. They're probably sitting back, just going, "We could package up a Nabisco cracker with my turd on it, and we would sell it."
Yep.
Like, they probably could. I mean, sad, but hopefully it's good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what we're all hoping. Oh, also, I wanted to ask you guys, you mentioned LA Noire. Do you guys think this VR, huge adjustment to the game, increased stuff for the Switch, do you guys think this is a test for a sequel, which they have stressed they wanted to do in the past?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just a philosophy of mine, sorry, but I don't think... I know ports are designed to make quick money, but I think they're also used for experiments. Bethesda, just a quick example is, they tested out all the tech before Fallout 4 by putting Skyrim on the Xbox One and just seeing how it ran, and then they released it later on as its own thing. So it's like, same thing with VR, same thing with Switch stuff. Yeah, they're testing grounds. Completely.
My question is, this is who's going to do it with Team Bondi out of the equation. I wonder who would do the sequel. I mean, when you're talking about a port, they could easily put together a team, but with a fully fledged game, Like, what Rockstar
think
team is going to be doing it?
I don't know. I just think so many years have passed. It doesn't matter that Bondi's even gone anymore.
No. But like, I'm wondering which team that isn't already doing something is going to move to that. That's my question.
Yeah,
I don't know Rockstar well enough to answer that.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. It would be interesting to see, just like we talked about this with Hangar 13 and Mafia.
Yeah,
because they have different developers who has the time to do it. I mean, it could also be one of those things where I guess they wouldn't contract out. The reason why I say it is because, guys, I mean, VR alone, the VR missions now in LA Noire, that was never a plan originally. They are experimenting, like Maddie said, and I find that pretty crazy to just do because of a port, and VR especially so. So it just seems to me like it's like, hey, did LA Noire, how did it do? Let's see. I certainly wish we got a Bully remake.
Dude, you have no idea.
True remake. Remake.
You have no idea how badly
Midnight
I
Club
want Bully too.
Hey?
Well, on my Vive with my bike, pedaling the bike.
Exactly. Beating up the nerds with the paddles.
Oh my God, that would be because in that one you have the fight club, right? In the high school?
Yeah.
Oh, with
Are
the
you telling
Vive
me
controllers.
that this would be a game in VR where you could beat up little kids?
You are a little kid too, though.
You are a little kid though.
But you are a grown adult holding those damn Vive controllers.
Nothing sells VR like child-on-child violence. I mean, I think we would all agree. I guess he is a little right though. That would be on the internet pretty quick. Like some news channel would be like,
I see a Kotaku article.
Yeah.
Oh man, well I hope there is a Bully 2 at some point, but yeah, I definitely think it's grounds for testing, and they're definitely looking to do something else with it.
VR Bully just makes me smile inside.
Oh, dude. Well, let's be honest. VR LA Noire. Like, can I rough up the fucking suspect? Like, because I would. There wouldn't even. They'd be like, "You want to ask a question?" No.
Yeah. They're definitely gauging at least interest. Like
right.
They're doing it. It's on all the new platforms like PS4, Xbox One, PC, Switch, VR. Like it's everywhere. So they got to be saying, let's see how much this sells. If it sells a lot, we'll probably triple this number if we make a new one.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'd love to see what they do with that. Anyway, now on to the next trailer that broke the interwebs to a lesser degree, but still very exciting, was Battlefront 2. So there was a new trailer called This is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Showcased a lot of the new content. 18 planets, 4 are part of single player, 30 some odd vehicles. I think 14 heroes and villains.
This is a really cool trailer.
You're really good. John Boyega voiced it, the actor who is Finn in Star Wars. It just showed a lot of different things, as well as the new star card system. I'm trying to remember because they were really transparent in that trailer. You saw literally every planet they were talking about in the trailer. They showed the weapon customization. You even saw a Transdoshan shotgun. And I was like, dude, I thought this thing was forgotten. Because remember in Republic Commando, I don't know if you guys ever played it, but they had that.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I was like, I can't believe they brought it back. But I was really excited with that trailer. Really pleased with what I'm seeing personally with Battlefront 2. I'm only concerned about the star card system, but what are you guys thinking about it?
Go ahead, Lone.
No, it's looking really good, and clearly this time around they're saying we actually have stuff.
Yeah.
It's at least 3 times more content than the first. They had this really cool comparison chart showing. But no, they're doing all the right things. The only reason why I have reservations is because Destiny 2 did a very similar thing. They're like, we have so many hours of content. And then I think in the end, the campaign was like 10 hours. I was like, what? Like, I thought you were talking about how there's like 50 hours of story content, and now there was 10 to 12 hours of a campaign. So only because of that, just being fresh in my mind, I'm still hesitant or something like this, because when you list like how much stuff and content a game can have, it can look big on paper, but really it's obviously how it experiences and runs when you get the game. So that's my only reservation.
Also, the comparison thing. Like I remember when Destiny 2 dropped, I saw a lot of positive things. It's slowly turning a little more negative, just a little bit. But I remember tweeting out, I was just like, what do you guys think of Destiny 2? And they're like, it's amazing, story's great, yada, yada, yada. And it's not like I don't believe it, but it's also, you got to take into consideration, because a lot of people were saying, compared to Destiny 1, it's really good. And I'm like, well, Destiny 1 didn't even have a story, so anything is better than that, right? So it's like, same thing with Battlefront 1 to 2. It's like, how's the multiplayer?
Like, there was no story, you know, there was no campaign.
Exactly, yeah. How's the story? Well, there wasn't one in Battlefront 1. Okay. That's how much it's improved. What about you, Karak?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked the original for what it did. Like, I liked to run around in Star Wars, and it looked cool. But I don't really, I'm going to sort of wait, because I'm more of a single player in that game. I like the multiplayer, but I'm more interested in the single player, I'll say that. Okay. And,
yeah, same.
You know, BF1 had a unique but not great single player. Destiny 2, that's why in my review I said the best thing about Destiny 2's story is that it's actually in the game and not on a website. That doesn't necessarily mean it's amazing. It just means, well, first of all, whoever decided to say, I hope people are mad about the story because we have so much in Destiny 2 needs to fuck right off. Because that's the kind of stuff that when Lone said that in that one podcast, I was like, man, I fucking hate that. And I get
and it wasn't
why
true, right?
It wasn't true, and I get why they said it, but they should have shut their fucking traps, and they should have just been like, let it stand on its own and no undue comparisons. But Maddie's right. You can't compare Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 stories. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it'd be like, what kind of laser gun is in Red Dead? None. I mean, there's no comparison between the two, so it wouldn't make any sense. But to me, I'll play it, and I don't like the idea of the star card bullshit. I'm worried about that too. I'm worried about a couple things in that game, to be honest, and that's what scares me. Is that like
things, because I can share the star card thing, but I want to see if like you can bring.
Well, go ahead with.
Can you explain the star card thing to me? Because I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
what that's
explain
about.
that first, and then I'll explain.
All right, so I'm gonna try my best, just because I've played a decent amount of Battlefront 1, and I don't know entirely. It looks the same exact thing as Battlefront 2, because in Battlefront 1. You'd get a star card when you unlocked it through a level, or with the DLC, you'd get it through a hot contract. And then as you used it more and more, it would level up in rarity. And I think, I'm not sure how it would particularly upgrade, but all I know is it got better. Same thing is happening in Battlefront 2. There are different levels of rarity. You get crafting things that you can use to combine with the star card and increase its rarity level 2. And what happens is that if you do what I did, which was Battlefront 1 was $5, and its season pass was entirely free on PS4. So I said to my friends, I was like, let's just do it. Let's see how the game's looking.
Sure.
Download it, try it out. Huge imbalance, because you have this player base who is myself and a ton of other people coming in fresh saying, let's see what's up with Battlefront. It was $5, getting destroyed because everyone's got all their shit upgraded and has been around since the beginning. Now with the star card thing, I'm a little nervous, because I want to see how they balance it out, what's there, because everyone was using the jump packs and the back-to-bombs. Back-to-bombs are healing grenades. You toss on the ground, fill up your health just like that. And I want to see how these rarity levels play into the balance of the game. Can a new player come in and still compete against someone who has their fully upgraded star cards? That's my biggest worry. I can see why they do them, because it does give unique loadouts, not just the set class structure, which is an immense improvement in its own right. But yeah, that's why, or that's what star cards are, and why I'm personally nervous. So go for it.
Yeah, that would be my biggest one is imbalance, but also the fact that, like, when you start talking about adding this to adding that, all I can envision is microtransactions. I'm just really nervous about where they're going to be and how much.
Case thing for sure.
Yeah, and it's like I really don't think any game as of maybe last month should ever release now without telling you the exact odds for anything in any loot case you get. It should, just remove at least show me the odds of, when something says you have a chance of getting a rare, that means nothing. I have a chance of fucking walking outside and dying right away. Like, but what is the chance? When I buy something in Star Wars 2, I want to see, like, there's a 5% chance of a rare, and then you can go, okay, 5% chance. I'll go ahead and try that. I'm just worried also because you said 4 planets in the single player, right?
Yeah. 4 unique, I should say.
I have this sinking feeling that we're going to see I don't know why. So this is complete. Something about the way they showed the data and they explain certain things, I just have this sinking feeling we're going to see a lot of expansions or a lot of purchasable stuff, again, sort of in the microtransactions. And I don't want to purchase Starfighter packs. I don't want to purchase, 1 hour extra DLC content for the story. And I get this really weird feeling because 4 is also a very specific number, because Battlefield 1's story was 4 protagonists. And it's like, is it going to be the same fucking thing where it's like 1 hour a piece? Or 2 hours a piece, but it's like segment. I hate the segmented shit. Like in BF1,
like Battlefield 1. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I was okay with it then, but now when I see good games doing good story and that kind of stuff, like a Titanfall, even though I wasn't as big of a fan as a lot of people, that the idea of like, you died, your name's Jonathan, we're going to the next guy, and you're all, but there's no connection there.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm worried about.
I completely agree with that. Although I will say I think this one is a continuous story. It's
seems
I would assume so with her, with the actress and
with the actress there, and is it? I think it's a redemption story or something. I don't know, but
it's about what happens after the Death Star and the Emperor are dead and everything after Episode 6. So it's basically building the I think it's called the First Order, I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The new Empire you see in Episode 7.
Is she against the First Order, even though she was Empire?
Iron
then?
Versio
like
is the commander of the Inferno Squadron, and it's basically, I think she's tasked with avenging the Empire. And so after the Emperor's death, it's a really good premise. My biggest fear is that they're going to do one thing. They're going to pull a Finn, which in Episode 7, he sees how fucked up the Empire is and goes, I'm out. Defect.
But that's my guess. Like that's what I thought it was going to be, because you can't have an evil protagonist in a Star Wars game being catered to a young audience. I just don't see that happening.
I really hope they do, because it would be so upsetting and predictable if they just had her defect, or that's what I said. I just want them to have her stay true to the Empire. It's such an interesting character grounding, because you have this person who's grown up in the Empire. It's this unique new planet. She's been bred this way. She knows the Empire way. Why change that? Because we've seen the same rebel heroes that, save the day so many times. And I don't want to see that same style hero in the Empire, though. It's like I want someone new.
So I don't know as much about the First Order as I do the Empire, but I will, and I've stated this before, and I do believe that it is possible to play an Empire story, be totally fine. If you treat the rebels like ISIS, if you are like, and you, what I mean is you explain it to the people who are the Empire, as if these rebels are doing these kind of things. You could sell it. But here's the cool thing. I don't know how the First Order treats people, but if the Empire was technically lawful evil. Now, if you read alignments, lawful evil doesn't necessarily, the evil part sort of goes away. It just means a militant police force, and they have particular rules. The idea of like the First Order, what if they're more bloodthirsty and she is against that? Or through the story, you're against the rebels, and then you find out that the new bad guy, this person stuck around long enough to become the villain, stealing it from Batman. And so suddenly the First Order is the real bad guy. And you're like, they're worse than, I get it now. You could do that, because I agree with Maddie. I don't want to fucking, if they switch right away, I'm going to lose my shit. Yeah. Every game is that.
It's a tied story trope. Yeah, I agree.
What's the game where you're the fighter and you're having mental delusions in the desert? That was such a big... Spec Ops: The Line showed that you could be a bad guy but a good guy, right? So
that game,
or Uncharted, he kills 4,000 people and then goes and sleeps with his hot wife. So I mean, you can get away with it. You just have to, you just have to shrug and smirk and have a one-liner, and you'll be fine.
It can be done, and I don't want to get into spoilers for Spec Ops: The Line, because you should fucking play that game if you haven't.
Agreed.
But the thing about that, the entire premise of that game is no matter what choice you made, and whether you thought it was good or bad, in the end, it was still a bad choice. It was meant to show the perils and the negative connotations of war in every scenario. Like, war is never the answer. That was the sense that I got from it, right? But I still got the sense that you were still trying to do good in there. But it sounds like what you guys are saying is that you still want this person to be evil, but still have some sort of conflict with other evil factions.
No, what you're saying, I would be fine. I just don't want the coming to Jesus moment that all these games have. where it's oh my lord, I've been working for the wrong team.
That's what I'm saying.
Play my guitar in the corner. Yeah. No, I don't want that shit. I want where she's like, okay, Jedi. Yeah, you ISIS rebels, because remember, in her belief system, that would make sense. These guys are bombing things, they're stealing stuff. To her, grown up on a planet. Remember, she was grown on a planet and groomed, so her belief system would be different. Exactly. She could still be a bad guy, but still have very clear morals. Well, look at some of the bad guys in some of the.
You can't blame her, because she's just grown up that way.
She's been. They also have rules. I mean, they also have rules, and to me, that's the best part. Is a lot of bad guys have some very good guy rules, where they're like, you can't kill him. We're gonna fuck him over royally. We're going to steal all this, but you can't just kill him. That makes no sense. We don't kill innocents or whatever. Yeah. I would love for her to be that way. And then the First Order, because at least the way they showed him in the movie, they were pretty bloodthirsty because, they annihilated like 18 planets, which the Death Star took a while to build, but they were still like, what should we do? But not the First Order. They're like, fuck them all. Yeah. And so what if the story is that they're just not the way she wants to see the Empire go? I could see that. It's going to be hard, but
it's not going to happen, guys. It's it's not going to happen. It's going to be a redemption story.
But speaking of Spec Ops: The Line, isn't one of the co-writers working on the story?
Yeah, that is true. That is exactly true.
I just remember that. I mean, there's.
And do you know where they got the idea for Spec Ops: The Line?
Where?
Dark. There was a sci-fi. There was a 1950s sci-fi. It wasn't a remake. Steven Spielberg made it and pretended it was in the 1950s. It's called Dark Skies, I believe. And the little girl in it says, "What do you do when every choice hurts?" And that is one of the guys was watching that and was like, "Oh dear God, we need to do like how would you
we need to make a game on this.
We need to make a game on that." And that was one of the driving forces, but somebody had seen it and they were talking about like that sort of made them go, "Okay, we can do a game like this." But I agree with Lone. It is Star Wars. They'll probably do they'll probably take it on the safe side. But we'll see. Who knows?
Or what if? I
love the Old Republic, man. Just give me my mature content.
Right. What if she does have a coming to Jesus moment, but in the end it was all a conspiracy and she was still working with the bad guys, and that was her kind of plan?
Okay with that.
That'd be an awesome twist. That'd be sweet.
That would.
Look, we got to remember this is DICE, or who's writing the story? Is it Motive? I don't know, man. I think it's Motive, but like, it's a DICE game story mode. My expectations are not
that deep.
Sky high.
It's not like the other game, isn't it? It's not Laura Landing who's writing it. Who's writing the other one that Ubisoft is doing with Jade Raymond? Aren't they doing a Star Wars as well?
The one who's doing who did Uncharted
Amy
and
Hennig.
stuff? Yeah, Amy Hennig.
Yeah. It's not like she's writing it, because then it would be a different.
That one, Visceral Star Wars game, especially for how long it's been hidden for, dude. My expectations are up here for that one.
Right.
DICE's story, it's like, look, I know they're probably not going to do any single player expansions. I just hope it's not like a glorified multiplayer mode, you know what I'm saying? We're like, you know how the campaign in the original Battlefront's Karak, I don't know if you played them, I don't think Lone did. But like the original campaign for those games was just like doing the conquest mode, but with the theme of the mission itself from the movies. Yeah.
You need to go here now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Princess Leia said it. Oh my God, I'm there. This is
it matters now.
Yeah. So it's like, that's the other thing I'm afraid of. And some of the gameplay, the very brief snippets just didn't sell me on it not being that. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Our next topic is Assassin's Creed Origins. They're adding a really unique thing to video games.
Hell yeah.
It is an educational mode. It's going to take you around the setting of Assassin's Creed Origins. No combat, just teaching you. Dude, beautiful. Assassin's Creed Origins is going to be in schools, and I wish I was still in college right now, because I'd be sitting there learning about that.
I don't know how, like, if it's going to be historically accurate or anything. Like, maybe they'll show it in schools just for, like, this is what,
video games can do.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is what the setting might have looked like back in the day. But yeah, Assassin's Creed's never been historically accurate. It's used, certain people, like, for example, I just replayed Assassin's Creed 2, so they had Leonardo da Vinci, but Leonardo da Vinci wasn't friends with Ezio Auditore.
Making gliders to kill people.
Exactly. And that shit didn't happen. So
we don't know that.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
From what I saw in the screenshot, it was like you were in this building of some kind and you were looking at like an ancient artifact of some sort, and it had a text box describing like its origin, you know, everything about it. Like it was a history lesson almost. And so I'm expecting that's what it's going to be like, not just the setting, but actually like things from that time period and teaching you about things in that area. So, I mean, I can't imagine they'll say it's an educational mode and then teach their historically inaccurate, or do it through their historically inaccurate title.
That they would like intertwine what they're trying to teach about ancient Egypt with like, and just using this as some sort of like the best visual representation they could possibly find.
Oh, okay.
Like instead of saying, oh, look at this textbook and this one image of a pyramid and how it was built, let's actually show you someone's re-envisioning of what ancient Egypt looked like, and we'll kind of overlay that with actually historically accurate fact about Egypt. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're going to be using the game as some sort of way to teach children about what happened in Egypt, but they'll use it as a visual representation of that.
It's funny because a developer from Avalanche emailed me and was like, dude, Assassin's Creed just added your walking the walk videos into their tutorial, into their game. And I was like, what? And then I saw it. I'm like, oh shit, that's exactly what I was hoping. I heard that there now they said that there are dozens of tours, whatever that means. I wish there were more. But that's the thing, is there's two types of ways they can do this. The type I would like to see is a little bit like a walking the walk, where you're walking and the game is like, we've hired a historian who talks well, and they're going to say, in ancient Egypt, streets were blah, blah, blah. And it was just like this data that was like an interactive walking around lesson. And you could walk around a little bit and it's like, you know, the collected sounds at this time, this animal was not actually native, whatever. I don't want to see a fucking text blurb. Hey, that's what I'm a little nervous about.
This is actually interesting. Ubisoft says there will be dozens of these tours, each focused on a different topic, which will be curated by actual historians. The tours will cover topics like mummification, the pyramids, and the lives of important figures. So
wouldn't that be awesome? The thing that we were saying, Maddie, that's what we were talking about. But we were saying, the data we're missing is it a text blurb, or is it like a narrative, like John Hammond at Jurassic Park is what I'm thinking. Because if it's that, I will not play the normal Assassin's Creed. I would literally just walk around. But it would cost a fuck ton of money to pay a voice actor to do that. So you would really have to look at the cost. Because what I saw was a blurb. There was a picture I saw where it was like a text blurb, and I'm all, okay, well, that's not the same thing. Like, I want an interactive, John Hammond, where you want director's commentary. Rex. Yeah, except historian's commentary, right? Like get Dan, what's the hardcore history, Dan Carlin? I think that's his name. He does the YouTube, he's the super massive popular YouTuber who does history, hardcore history. Have him on there, and he's got, I think like 800 episodes. Have him on there and fucking, talk about those things. What were you saying, Maddie?
I'm looking at the one screenshot example they posted, and they were talking about the evisceration during a mummification process, and it says like in a little text blurb underneath a picture of it actually happening, and then you can see it in game to the right. And in the text blurb, it's just a brief thing. It's not fully there. But it says, first, the brain was extracted by inserting a spoon through the nostril to break the ethmoid bone. Then, using a spatula, the pieces of the brain were removed as thoroughly as possible. What matter remained was extracted after a process of liquefaction achieved through the use of a ... And so it doesn't continue after that. But I don't know if that part's voiced. Like, once you bring up the panel, if a voice actor speaks.
Maybe it is voiced. We don't know.
I hope so.
That would be awesome.
I think that would be. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to add and tell people that you're adding it, you would think that it would be voiced in some way. Do you know what I was thinking too? They never really said exactly how they believe the pyramids have been built. There's like 6 major theories. It would be awesome if when you walk up and look at a pyramid, it's like theory 1, and you push a button and it like shows it in time lapse as you're watching, and it's like, and it shows the different, and then it's like theory 2 is slightly different. And of course, I'm now blowing it out of monetary proportion. There's no way they have the money to do all that, but that's what I want. If you're gonna add this mode, give me the reason why I should play this mode, and don't let it just be text.
Well, look, it definitely sounds interesting, and like I think it's going to be for hard. I don't see many people playing this mode straight away. I think it's going to be for hardcore players that just really want to know more about ancient Egypt, and I don't know like whether this is purely historical fact or whether theory and lore from the game is actually intertwined with this mode in some way. I don't know how they're gonna manage that, but look, I've always been a strong proponent of using video games in an educational sense, and this is a great little stepping stone to getting towards that. Obviously, the issue is that where's the money? Like, you'd have to convince schools and educational institutions that this is actually worth it, and that's where the money comes into it. Right now, Ubisoft is just doing it to say, well, because we thought it was cool. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine the amount of history that Ubisoft's writers have to read to be able to. God, yeah. And they're not trying to be historically accurate, but they're trying to be as accurate as humanly possible within the confines of an Assassin's Creed game. The amount of stuff that they have to read, and they're probably like, this is really interesting. I'd like to share this information in some way. And then Ubisoft's execs are like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Do it. But they wouldn't be doing it unless it was a huge franchise that was selling so much money that they had the capacity to do something like this. Like, Karak, you mentioned how expensive it would be just to have a voice actor to do the narration. I mean, just imagine how hard it would be if a school or a big university was like, we want you to make this game from the ground up. Like, it's so expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good, though, as a learning tool because people learn in different ways, and that's just another form. You have, like, the listeners, the readers, and then there's interactive now with this where you can actually, in a way with the controller have hands-on with it and learn because you're engrossed in a different way. You're actually kind of in the universe. Imagine if they did it with VR, too. That'd be really cool. Because then you can get like an up-close look at it and stuff. That would be interesting.
That would be amazing.
Nothing is more fun than going to school and spooning out somebody's brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In VR is all I'm saying.
I was going to say, you got the two paddles, you use it one, just scoop it out, use the spatula.
and go first person with it.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's not going to be shit like that. It's going to be a fucking text blurb. I'm removing all my hope. Because the idea that I have, the only way you'd be able to do it is
Ubisoft's been surprising us lately.
You'd be able to, yeah, it's true. The only way you'd be able to do it is a soft narrative like I was discussing, where it's more like, this animal was actually, where it wasn't read from a textbook, it wasn't written as a full script. You would, hire a voice actor or hire Dan. Like I said, that guy actually knows his shit, even though some people have issues with him. Hire somebody to just give you, it's hard to describe, a detailed but still somewhat easy to digest overview. Again, like a tour at Ripley's Believe It or Not or a tour at Jurassic Park. That would be probably your cheapest. And you wouldn't need a voice actor. You could do somebody who does podcasts. It'd be
so cool if they hired like the narrator from Divinity. Like the guy who plays in between the like.
The problem is,
turn to your right. I love
the problem is, I do too. But that reminds me of what one of the people I was talking to was saying that you never want. There are like 6 types of voice actor, and there's a narrator of blurbs, and then there's a story reader, and then there's a general practitioner who's just good at being eloquent and keeping you interested, because a good narrator sometimes is not somebody you want to read you the same thing over and over. You're like, okay, I get it.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though. Hats off to him, man. I love the idea. I think that it's crazy we're even talking about it because I don't think anybody really expected it.
Oh, absolutely not. But you know what? I'm happy because like this is interesting because this is the first piece of DLC you'd expect to hear from Ubisoft about AC Origins. When you really think about it.
For sure.
It's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna be giving it a look though. I don't know about you guys, but I'm in.
Oh, I'm in too. Probably.
I figured out though I'm not going to be able to play AC Origins until November or something. Just too much else on. I think I want to play Wolfenstein 2 first. That's my goal.
That's the goal. I don't blame you. That game's awesome. The 2 demos we've gone to, holy shit. I love it. It's gonna be good. All right. Next topic is a little more somber. We're going to be talking about Volition. A month after the launch of Agents of Mayhem, the studio has faced a lot of layoffs, clearly indicating the game is not performing that well, and they probably dumped too much into it. So that's always it's a brutal industry You know, you put your heart and soul into something for years, and then boom, it doesn't perform, you're out.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It really does. Like, just, I would love to have some sort of master comprehensive list of all the dev studios that have shut down, and just like really quick reasons as to why it happened, because we've seen some great studios over the years just shut down and poof, disappear.
Yeah.
And some great teams go away because the game wasn't successful. And it sucks because you could really think that this game is going to sell well, but because of fierce competition and so many other extenuating circumstances, it just doesn't. And then that you say goodbye to your studio.
Pandemic games. Never forget. That's the saddest one for me.
Fucking Mercenaries. They did Mercenaries, right?
Yeah. They did so many different things, dude.
Fucking, I love that. I will say this. Every single game company that finishes a game does actually do a series of layoffs. So I would actually need to look at how many, because what I read was not a lot. We're talking 30 out of 200. And if that's true, that is a normal. Matter of fact, that might be technically a little low of a layoff.
Allow me to pull up the article then.
Yeah, if you could. Because like what Karak is pretty much referring to, you'll have a studio that starts development of a game. As they get more into it, they'll hire more staff because they need the workers. They'll also hire independent contractors, and then by the end of it, they have so many people they don't know what to do, and then they'll do layoffs. Like what I was more talking about is, for example, and this one really hits close to home, is 2K Australia that just shut down, and there's a team of 30 or whatever it was.
The Rapture company that hated Sony so much, but they something Rapture. They just closed down last week. They just announced they're done.
Is that the one that's going dark or something?
Well, they just said as of now we are done. Like we're done. Who knows what the future holds? But those were they were the ones who first really took Sony to because everybody thought Sony is so great, and they were the ones to really first say it was horrid working for them, and it burned everybody out. And then they sold well. And they fell apart. So sometimes you don't even have to sell well, or you don't have to sell poorly or well. You can fall apart too.
Well, like Irrational Games, you know, there are other reasons.
Games,
It says the studio behind Agents of Mayhem laid off over 30 people this week, including general manager Dan Cermak. The studio previously had around 200. These layoffs come 1 month after Agents of Mayhem. Sources say that Deep Silver, the publisher and parent company of Volition, was very unhappy with Agents of Mayhem's sales.
True. They're all together. So like, I mean, their normal layoffs are always going to happen. That's a low number, but I agree. There's no way, because Maddie and I were talking about the game before it got released. There's no way that the publisher was happy at that game. And they can say they were mad about the sales. They should really just say they were mad about the state of the game. Like there was a lot of problems with that title. So, yeah, general managers usually. It depends if he's a general community manager or I mean, what does general manager mean?
It could be like with BioWare, where Casey Hudson's GM, just straight up.
Then that seems more connected with performance than it is normal. I mean, usually don't. I mean, it depends on the success they've seen. Also, I don't know if you guys have found, but like producers. Sometimes you'll find out that a producer will say, the game didn't do well. The producer's in charge of the game. Like they're the ones who put everything, they sort of grab everything, put it together. They will get released sometimes, and the people below them won't, because it'll be like, listen, we believed you. You went out there. We gave you all the chance, like a head coach in a way. We gave you all the players, right? And it didn't work out. We don't hate you, but obviously this isn't working. So you need to go elsewhere.
That happens all the time. Like I would love to be able to draw comparisons with like any sports team where it's usually the coach that's the first to go. It's so pervasive in football or soccer where it's like they can't. It's the harder option to fire the whole team and just hire a bunch of new players. Like usually the first port of call is you fire your coaching staff. But obviously in this instance, it was a little bit more than that. I never played the game, but it always sucks to see studios shut down, because then you got a bunch of people looking for jobs, and maybe some of them will find them.
It's just they had a lot of layoffs.
Yeah, they are still up loan, at least. I mean, at least they're not like those ones.
Well, for the 30 people plus that lost their jobs, like
that sucks.
Like put it this way, that's 30 more people that are looking for jobs, and I'm assuming it's a US area. And
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's Texas, right?
yeah, so let's say they're all looking for jobs somewhere in the US. And that's in addition to everyone else looking for jobs, and in addition to every other dev that was laid off recently that's maybe still looking for a job. Like it's such a cutthroat industry.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not easy just to find yourself another place.
Nah.
And it's even more sad because at the end of the game, when the credits are rolling, you see like all of the staff and all these pictures so happy, and I'm just sitting here like, oh no.
Yeah,
that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, the credits, which is really should just be called the obituary. The job obituary list. Sorry, but I mean, not even. I have friends who are developers, but really, that's the dark joke you sometimes hear them like dropping is like, oh yeah, the list of people who aren't there anymore. Or I'll get like a PR list, and it'll say like, we want to thank these people, and you'll be all, none of them still work there. None of them. They've all moved on. It is cutthroat, but it's a high expense, high return, high risk environment. They'll all be on Patreon. That is a new thing. Like we see it with magazines where like, we fired our review staff for video games because we're not doing reviews for video games anymore, and they're like, no problem, we'll just open a Patreon.
Yeah, love it. Oh, he's frozen again.
It's cut out.
More than enough.
There he is again.
Oh, sorry, did I cut out?
Yeah, you're good. You can repeat.
I was just gonna say 30 people is more than enough to start a Kickstarter and make a game.
Oh yeah.
So go out and do it. I would check it out.
Absolutely. That seems to be the thing nowadays. All right, let's team up, guys. We're family now.
Could you imagine how much Patreon is sitting back and thinking, everyone's coming to us? It's great.
A lot. And they Maddie and I have talked about this. They're fucking terrible at like customer support, even though Maddie hasn't had issues. All of the bigger, once your patron gets to a certain level, shit just stops really working for you. They don't care. They're getting such a huge amount in fees. They're just like,
is it 5%?
It is. No, it's well. There's two. There's two fees we get. There's 5 and 5, I think. One from Amazon, one from Patreon. Is that right, Maddie?
I believe so. Yeah.
So you're saying 10% off the top of what you see publicly on the page is gone, and then obviously that's before taxes too.
And before rewards. I found that out the hard way. Don't be stupid like Karak and be all, I'm going to give out a reward every month like a fucking idiot. And then you're like, whoa, that's a lot of money. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. But I hope we see them. That'd be great if they were like, hey, we're going to release a small title.
Look, the indie market is just massive. There is a lot of competition there too. I mean, it's just one of those industries where if you want to survive, you need to be really creative and know what you're doing. And sometimes it's a lot of luck. Actually, a lot of the times it is luck. Like PUBG, we've talked about it. It's just so stupidly popular now. And now as a result, you've got Fortnite, which is probably going to be very popular.
1 million players in one day.
I know, it's insane.
1 fucking million.
Yeah,
and we're talking about Paladins the other week too. That's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy about Fortnite? Weirdest thing. I hadn't touched it in a while. This was before the PUBG update. I feel like I've told this story. Let me know if I did. And I go to trade it in at GameStop because I'm like, I just want to get rid of this. I kind of feel like I wasted my money, and they wouldn't take it. It is like not in their system. They do not let you trade in Fortnite. And my friend didn't know that, and just a week ago tried to trade in. They still don't take it. You cannot trade in Fortnite.
What?
It's so fucking weird. They're like,
wait. Isn't Fortnite connected to your account when you activate it though? Like, I thought there was something that happened when Fortnite first came out, and I'm pretty sure it makes it. Doesn't it make it unusable for the next person? Or am I wrong?
I don't.
How are more people not upset about that? Because isn't that the whole, well, I should be able to pre-order. Sell back my game for pre-orders? Not pre-orders.
Yeah, but real quick, I'm going to ask you something, Lone. You mentioned Paladins, and they are doing well, but how well? I know they're doing really well, but aren't they in the millions as well? Like, and it's one of those secret successes where, not a lot of people are talking about it.
I'm playing Smite on a nightly basis.
What about Gigantic? Have you tried that out?
I love that game.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, you want to know how many copies it has?
Yeah.
It has 14 million owners. It's free to play, mind you, so that's
Paladins.
Oh my.
Yeah. And concurrent players in the last 2 weeks was 1.1 million. Peak concurrent was over 30,000. So
that's insane.
But yeah, it's a lot.
That's insane, and it's hidden. It's hidden game. Like you don't.
And also for a game, like I don't know if anyone watched Donkey's video on this. Just it bagged the shit out of this game because it was very similar to Overwatch, and it's still doing well. It's still doing stupidly well. So, but that's what I mean. Like, you can't predict this shit. You really can't. I mean, does this mean every Overwatch clone, if you want to call it that, is going to do well? Of course not.
Right.
This one just happened to do well.
I wish more people tried out Gigantic. That game is so stupidly fun to me. It's like a MOBA, but it's also 5v5, like hero deathmatch kind of thing.
Yeah.
So much fun.
That's awesome.
It's well done.
Cannot recommend it enough. I gotta play it again because like it's out of early access. I think now it's like full release. It's so good, and the devs there are awesome. They give away codes all the time. Let's move on to our final topic. Karak, I'm gonna have you introduce this one just because you know more about it. The microtransactions in Forza.
Yeah, I don't want to be too negative because we really hit on microtransactions at the starting, but I was so we'll just make it short. There, Ars Technica, I think I'm pronouncing the website's name right. They supposedly talked to the Forza devs, and there will at some point in the future be monetization. Now, that's not necessarily completely unknown because that's happened in prior Forzas. But my question is to you, is it better to just bite the bullet and have them early, day one, or is it like better to wait? And how long should a game wait before they add because to me, I'm okay with them adding them later. I've talked about this millions of times. Like Maddie was just talking about, you jump into Star Wars and everybody's got their shit and I'm getting my ass kicked. So it's like, okay, I don't have 800 hours because I'm a reviewer. Can I, is there a microtransaction there? What's your guys' thoughts on that? Like, and the fact that, I'm going to be honest, they didn't tell us that as a reviewer, and they make it look like there's nowhere to add real money. If you look at the font and the way it's written, there isn't a spot there for real money. So that seems a little shady.
Is it kind of like the Ubisoft, I think it was Syndicate when they gave out review copies and they entirely like hid the store page for the game or something like that. And then after launch, it was some Ubisoft game. And then after launch, there was a patch which added the store. So a bunch of reviewers were saying, yeah, there's no microtransactions, game's fully single player, yada, yada, yada. And then all the reviewers getting blasted afterwards because people were going, dude, there's microtransactions. What are you talking about?
It does sound like this will be a ways after, but that is it. It's just a longer time.
To me, it doesn't matter about timing because whether I'm playing it now or whether I'm playing it, a month after launch, it's the kinds of microtransactions. I've always said, I know there's a debate between whether cosmetic microtransactions in a $60 game is still okay, but still for me, when it comes to a game like Forza, if you can just buy the best car in the game and kick everyone else's ass, I don't care whether that comes at launch or a month later. It's still pay to win, and it still makes it very difficult, especially for new people coming in. They don't have the ability to buy that extra car. If it was just a bunch of really cool skins or just small finer cosmetic details, whenever that comes in, it comes in. Personally, that doesn't bother me. So long as I can compete with other people on an equal playing ground, then I don't have an issue with it. Of course, it comes into it when you can buy the best car or you can buy the best engine or whatever it might be. And is that what they're going to you can add in new turbo for $1 or new engine for $5.
It's unfortunately cars because if you right now, I'm just saying right now without any real money and no indication of real money. So I want to make sure that's clear. Is that when you get a loot crate in that game, you buy it with credits in the game. When you can't buy it, it doesn't say, please go to the store and the store shut down. It literally just says you don't have enough, Forza bucks. So it's all based, at least right now, as being completely in-game. But
so just have a virtual currency is what you're saying, yeah.
They do, and the loot crates will say you have a chance, which is what I hate, you have a chance of winning a legendary car. Now, the legendary cars are sort of a car that is better in your tier. It doesn't mean it's going to be better than somebody who's upgraded their car, which is not expensive in those tiers. So I could get a great tier A car from a loot box, but also somebody could have a tier B car and just upgrade it a couple times and boom, they've got a car that's, and I don't mean a couple races, I mean you can usually upgrade it money-wise after 1 or 2 races. So it's not a huge bit. But here's the thing. Currently, it seems made for no microtransactions. The grind is great. There's not an issue with that. Cool. But there's one thing, Lone, that scares the shit out of me. They added something, and I couldn't figure out why. And in my review, I bitch about it because I can't. They added a new thing called collector level. What that means is you can't even get the next tier car at all unless you buy current tier cars that each one adds a specific amount of points to your collector level. So you have tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start out at 1. You can't even get any tiers above until you buy a couple cars that sort of add 10 points, 15 points, 150 points. And then boom, you can now get a tier 2 car. That scares me because I couldn't figure out why it was there.
Fundamentally perform better in game.
Well, they will, because they're a completely different tier, which is normal. That's been normal. You have like your Mazda, and then you have your fucking Lamborghini. Yeah. So that's normal. So yeah, they are better. But that the issue is that I even said in the review, I don't want to get stuck behind 10 turd cars where I've paid a bunch of money just so I can get the next car. It's never happened. You usually raced well and you could buy a fucking Veyron and you were done.
Like any racing game. I mean,
exactly.
My suggestion would be if there is going to be microtransactions. I remember playing Need for Speed Most Wanted. The coolest thing in the world to me was when you beat the boss and you got their car. And it wasn't even that it could drive particularly fast. It just looked fucking cool. Yeah, what I would love, not love, but prefer is if in this Forza game, there was like, you have your standard base models that aren't customized, but it's like in this loot box, we're going to give you this fucking Ferrari that just looks really cool. It's got an awesome paint job. It's got awesome, bumper bars and a spoiler and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be like, yeah, that just looks fucking sweet. It could perform the exact same as a regular Ferrari.
I agree. Yeah.
They've done that car up to the stage where you're like, oh, that's really awesome. And like, I guess the next step to that is like, I don't know if any games have done this, but where you can have the community build cars from the ground up and showcase them to other people and then have other people copy their paint job, for instance. I mean, I love seeing what other people do with their cars. I love that customization. And if they were going to say, well, what we're going to do is the Forza team, we're going to build and customize cars from the ground up that still perform the same as any other one. But this is our realization of what a car
interior could be cooler, right?
Like. Interior. And then if that comes in a loot box, sweet. As long as I can't kick everyone else's ass with it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a legendary, car, or rare car usually has some reason beyond like a look to it. But I agree, that would be a great way to do it. What about you, Maddie? Like, does timing matter to you for adding these?
This is what I was talking about with the case-by-case basis.
Right.
I mean, I guess
we have covered a lot of this.
You're releasing it to probably the smallest possible player base at that point. Only people are coming back. Like, how much later is this? Are we talking like a month? We don't even know.
We don't know, but looking at past stuff, we're talking more like possibly 3. And the big question is this. If they do it prior to the Xbox X version, people are going to shit themselves because that's a whole other platform. And if you suddenly have microtransactions in one version that you don't in another, that could be a disaster. So that doesn't come out until the end of November. So my assumption is you're talking 1 to 3 months or 2 to 3 months.
Okay. Well, like I said, with the new system releasing, I think that'll just reinvigorate the player base. So it just, to me, I can't say I'm crazy about it. It doesn't upset me though. I guess I'm pretty neutral on this one. It depends on the pricing of the cars. It depends on the balance. That's the biggest thing for me. It's like that's why I don't have a big issue with cosmetics. It's like you can waste your money all you fucking want, but like when
balance
you start,
doesn't come into it, does it? It's just no scope for that, right? Like you don't even have to worry about balancing shit if it's just cosmetic.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like if you want to spend your money, it's up to you.
I think what scares people is NBA 2K is cosmetic, but my beard shouldn't cost me $100.
Yeah, they take it to another level. That's
exactly,
true.
And like
there is a limit.
You're degrees. Right. There's a limit, and that's what I think we're all fucked because there's going to be a company that screws it up, and their limit is they're not thinking, and then another company will be like, no, this makes total sense, and people will look at it and go, yeah, that's pretty. Because I also have seen cosmetics and been like, makes sense, that's fine, like a new thing in Virtual Fighter for my character.
I really wish that someone looked at Tekken and its customization. Tekken 7 came out this year, all in game. You unlock new items through the treasure mode. You can buy them with in-game currency. I don't think there's a microtransactions page aside from the free DLC it got, which was bowling. Like, I just wish someone took a look at that. That's a very traditional way of approaching it, because instead of giving you like 40 new skins, which the game created, you can just create your own character and model them after like different characters from different universes and stuff and fight as them. And it's like, I just wish someone took a look at that. It's like, it's still possible to have those types of games. It's not like we have to lay down and, you know, endlessly accept like, okay, we'll just take the least worst type of microtransaction like I was talking about earlier. So it's like, you know, I wish those types of gameplay systems got more recognition for being, I guess, traditional. But when it comes to Forza, it's just like, it really depends on the player base and the prices at that point. Because, you know, if there's a lot of players in there and you're bringing a lack of balance to the table because of your microtransactions, it's just your incredible greed is what's getting in the way of what could be a really awesome game, then get the fuck out of here. You know, that's what I say.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be interested to see, because a game that I'm really looking forward to is Need for Speed Payback. I don't know if you've seen the trailers for that. I don't know. It's giving me Need for Speed Underground vibes. Like the new trailer that they made, like they had this really cool feature where you can drive around this big open city, find like really dodgy, broken cars on the side of the street and do them up.
Forza Horizon. Let's be honest. That was Forza Horizon Jalopy mode. That's even #1 had that. So it's cool that they do it, because it's one of my favorite parts of Forza Horizon.
So cool. You're just driving along, chilling in your brand new car, and you see like an old busted Chevy on the side of the road. You're like, I could do that up, and you get it. Oh, it's such a great feature to me. I love that shit. Yeah, I can't wait for that game.
Yeah.
Depends how much time I have, if I'm even going to play it. What is it? Yeah, November 7th?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's what I wanted to do. I mean, really quickly at the end of this, I've built up a list of the games that I want to pay. It's not looking good, guys.
Yeah, wallets.
Fuck me. Okay, so coming out from today, moving towards the end of the year, obviously Xenoverse 2 on the Switch. I want to play that. Cuphead. FIFA 18 came out. Middle-earth Shadow of War. Evil Within. I wanted to try WWE 2K. Destiny 2 on the PC, AC Origins, Odyssey, Wolfenstein 2, Call of Duty World War 2, Sonic Forces, Need for Speed Payback, LA Noire, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Skyrim, Resident Evil Revelations, Xenoblade Chronicles, Doom on the Switch.
I forgot about Chronicles.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane?
There's also
I've been beyond belief.
There's also I'm just interjecting this for myself. I think it's the 22nd Fire Emblem Warriors comes out, and I've been playing a fuck ton of Fire Emblem, so I'm definitely picking that up too. So that's just another one. At least I can say I'm probably skipping Shadow of War, because just I don't fucking care about that game anymore. I'm sorry. I like, after all the shit that's been happening. Like, I already didn't care when it was announced. I wasn't the hugest fan of Shadow Mordor, and now it's just so much shit. Like, it's got to get stellar reviews. Like, you got to play this, Maddie, kind of reviews for me to go out and buy it anyway now.
Yeah.
Just too much shit to play, and other shit I care about right now where I'm just playing.
And literally Evil Within's 3 days after that. So if you want to play that, yeah. Yeah, sorry. I know.
Right, what'd you guys think? You know, after playing Evil Within and 2 and stuff like that, we talked many podcasts ago about the upgrades and the crafting. I didn't get a chance to watch your guys' videos. What did you think about its integration into the game?
Maddie, did we really get a chance to do much crafting in the demo? Like, I don't remember being able to do it.
You could go up to the crafting station and upgrade your weapons and stuff. And you could also sit in that chair and level up and upgrade your abilities like sprinting, health, that type of stuff. I don't know if you did that or not.
I didn't. I was picking up a bunch of items that it's like you can craft this, like the green slime.
I didn't have a chance to look at your video. Maybe you played a different level?
I don't think I did.
Like the weird lady with a head out of
Yeah,
the
I
chest.
did.
Okay, so yeah, we played the same level.
I just don't think I ever dabbled in it. I wanted to play the game and
Okay.
not spend my time in the menus.
Yeah,
you know?
the customization is basically the same from the Evil Within one. So you get parts across the level, you put them into your weapons, and it fixes, or not fixes, it increases reload speed, rate of fire, damage, that type of stuff. You sit in the chair with the green gel, you upgrade your health, sprint speed. What else is there? Stamina bar.
So real typical standard stuff.
Yeah, pretty standard upgrade tree.
Except not typical for this game, which is what like Maddie and I talked about months ago in the podcast, because we were worried.
Evil had this though. First Evil
no,
Within.
we were worried about the up, because remember I read it off and you're like, are you kidding me? Because they added the ability to craft. I can't remember if it's bullets or something like that. They added a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see.
If you haven't seen.
Did I see bullets in the game? I don't particularly remember. I'm sorry. I thought you meant because in the first Evil Within, and I think even like for example, Resident Evil 7, which I loved, like you had weapon upgrades.
This is the person. Remember, you were saying that you didn't have the ability to upgrade statistics in the original, and this one you do. Is that not correct?
You know what? I'd have to go back and look at the first one because
okay.
I do vividly remember freaking out with you though, and I don't think that was unjustified. I have to look at the first one.
Well,
in
it's
next
good
week's podcast. I'll let you know because I'm playing Evil Within 1 now, especially this weekend. So I'll let you know if it's possible.
That'll be good. But overall, the game itself, like, I'm kind of iffy on it. That's how I said in my impressions. I was like, this is like, out of everything I played at that showcase, that was probably the one that impressed me the least. I'm definitely, like we were talking about, Karak, curious for probably the wrong reasons, because I'm like, this could be a train wreck. It was definitely the most buggy game I played there. The AI was really silly, but I also mentioned that the Evil Within 1 did not demo well either. They, like, every impressions video I saw for that game was like, this game isn't that good, I don't really like it. And then it got reviewed and it got pretty good scores. I think it was like 8.5s, 8s, and 9s for a couple of sites. So
to be honest, I think this is going to get it, from the 80 to 85 score range. I said that when I played it. It just doesn't seem like the game that's really going to blow me away.
Yeah.
Unless the story is just like so good. And usually that's what I gravitate towards. I don't see this as being a Game of the Year contender.
I don't like Sebastian
at all.
How he is. He was too quiet in the first one, and then they make him not shut the fuck up in this one. And
he's talking like, I gotta find my daughter.
Yeah, he's like trying to be a hard ass. And I'm just like, dude, stop. And those like 2012 facial animations when he kneels down to the cop.
Man.
I just thought to myself, wow, that's bad.
That was pretty crazy how poor that was done. Do you know what sort of I guess, so it says it's weird because this is what I read, what Maddie and I read was IGN stuff. Will now have separate customizing Sebastian in your gear will now have separate systems in 2. Green gel is still used to upgrade Sebastian, but weapons will now be upgraded with weapon parts. They're saying it's new. Customization for Sebastian can be broken down into health and blah blah blah. It's a little hard to understand if what's new there, but so maybe not as much as we originally worried about.
I think you know what I think it was. Maybe I thought because what happens in the game is like you'll pick up weapon parts and it'll add like 250. I think when I thought weapon parts, I was thinking Resident Evil 7 probably, and like they scatter like some special clip that increases your reload speed, that type of thing.
Okay.
Like that progressional upgrades throughout the level, and that's where I was like, what? Hold on. It was a lot more open, or at least actually the initial opening level was. But once you got in the house, it was pretty straight.
And I thought it was ultimately one of the most disappointing boss battles I've ever seen. The idea that this chick has human bodies on her was great, and then they never used that. There was human bodies she could have repaired by running and another body crawl up. She chases you, and the boxes aren't even. There's places where boxes are set. They're not even touching. They're like floating in the air. And this isn't a beta, so I get that. But it was rough as fuck. And it was like, it's a bone-breaking contest. And in horror movies, horror games, you never want a bone-breaking contest, which is the typical explanation of I'm using heavy firepower against a mystical creature and it dies. And that, to me, there were so many ways. Imagine if the only way to kill her was to take those bodies and do something with them. Or imagine if there were certain things you needed to do, and instead you shoot her until she dies. And it's
now I'm very confused. Like, so Karak, you played Evil Within 2 early as well?
Yeah, and this was also on all the footage. That chick, I'm talking about the chick at the end.
In the demo, because the demo that I played, like that crazy chick, and there was a scene where you just run away from her. Did you guys play that as well?
Yeah.
Because all I remember is running away from her and not even fighting her.
When I'm talking about this girl, I'm talking about the big creature with the
human bodies.
The human bodies. You got two fences on each side. Yeah, you're running around a fountain outside
the truck
this
is flipped over with the booby trap. You can light the ground on fire by shooting.
Around the back is like a bunch of crates and stuff.
I don't even think I played that.
Oh, okay. That's a different version then. All right. Well, that makes sense. What did you think, Maddie, of that boss battle? Were you okay with it? Just because I wasn't.
One thing that really kind of broke the initial survival horror excitement was when I was running around and I already saw traps pre-set up. I don't know if it was for the what's it called? I don't know if it was for the demo itself, but there were crossbow bolts with traps already set up around the level, and I'm like, why? Yep. I don't know. Like I said, if it was for the demo or if it was just going to be like that in the full game, but if it's already like that in the full game, that's really weird to me. I don't know who just I'm gonna put this here and this looks good. Yep. All right, we're gonna leave these here. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, the boss is just kind of a run and shoot thing. But then when they try an actual mechanic with the chick with the head camera, the AI was so broken in my demo.
It was, but she was cool. She was cool, but it was broken.
It was so. I was like, this could have been so much better if this AI was not busted.
And Maddie, so the chick with that, I don't even think there was a name, but the chick with the camera for a head, I was expecting, so when you're in that area, they have all these lights hanging down on the strings, like light bulbs. And I was like, do you know what would be cool is if they had a mechanic, because again, I'm more of a horror fan who likes thoughtful beating of enemies versus, again, just shooting them. I was like, oh, you're going to have to shoot the light, when her head's nearby. So because they kept flashing you and hurting you with her flash. So I was like, aha, I need to flash her back. And instead it was like, no, you need to shoot her in the face. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, the only good mechanic was that it wasn't about shooting and killing her. You just had to shoot her to stop her from stopping time and then hide from her, which, that does increase tension. For sure. But like I said, the AI was so stupid that I shot her and she just stayed up on the wall in the corner for 20 seconds. I was like, all right, let me just take a drink in the meantime. Yeah, he's still there. Okay, grab my controller again. It was so bad in that regard. The atmosphere was good. I thought it was a lot more creepy than the first one, where the first one had one scary level. That was it. This one definitely had a much more creepy atmosphere, at least in the level I played. I don't know about you, Lone, because I'm curious what level you did play.
Because I'm trying to look at the gameplay now, and so we started in this really creepy dark room, and there were bodies hanging from the ceiling, and this guy took a picture of you, and then the crazy lady with the tons of faces and a giant buzzsaw broke through, and you had to run away from her. And then it jumped to where you're tracking your daughter's footsteps. So is that the demo you guys played?
You know what I'm going to do? Because I can't bring it up on my computer. I apologize.
Okay, so the buzzsaw, it sounds like Lone played after we did, Maddie, because the buzzsaw chick is the multi-bodied chick.
That's what I'm saying. But I never fought her. I ran away from her, and then the scene jumped, and then I was in a room.
Well, here's the problem with how they offered that the gameplay. They were jumping a lot, and that you weren't the only one who said, "Man, we just jumped to this or we just jumped to that." So it could be that they had different versions of it, which would make sense because every single person played the same.
Different. I'm looking at his gameplay right now, completely different.
Well, that's good. That's good because then multiple previews aren't the same fucking 20 seconds of footage. And I didn't get that's interesting. I got sent the footage and then played it later. I got sent the footage because I didn't get to go to the original. And they were like, "Hey, we've got a person who played that works for us, and you can use their footage." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome," because I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, go look at my channel, Lone, because I had a completely different gameplay video up.
Wow. Well, while he's doing that, then Maddie, you guys are both really hot on Wolfenstein. Yes. Give me a 1 minute why. Other than it's just like the first one. I mean, what?
Yeah, that's the thing. It takes the first one, builds upon it. So it's got it's got even funnier cutscenes. It's still got that excellent acting, that crazy, like we're in a serious war, but it's still got lighthearted moments. The contraptions are awesome. So you can put BJ on stilts, which is like a suspended double jump. He's got a ramshackle. You can run if you're sprinting at an enemy. He's weak enough, blow him to bits. Really satisfying mechanic. One compresses his body so he can crawl through vents. I don't think you can have all three immediately in the beginning, so you get them throughout the course of the campaign. Gunplay is still satisfying, so that's one thing from the first one, but they bring back that Wyatt choice, and whoever dies, you get a different type of gun throughout that playthrough.
That's right, yeah.
So they recount for your choice in a new way, rather than just story and cutscene. What else is there? Yeah, I guess it just takes... A lot of what I love about it is it's not fixing what was broken. Is that the term? I apologize. But
yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah,
that's the term,
it's just how it was in the first one, improvements, and what looks to be a good story.
Oh yeah, the thing that I want to say is that it's look, gameplay wise, it's like the first Wolfenstein. If you love that, you'll love this. If you didn't like it, you won't like this. But the cutscenes and the characters and the voice acting, holy shit,
crap.
It shits on the first one.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying whether it could be a good story. Like, we don't know yet. Obviously, we've had small snippets. But just the quality of the cutscenes and the humor. Like, there was this one scene. This is not really spoilers, but you have to look for this guy. I think his name is Horton. And you find him. And then there's this chick who's sniper rifling, just defending you guys.
Yeah.
And as people are shooting into the window, you guys are getting drunk and arguing. That was the most
that was awesome.
Fun. And also, really cool music playing in the background. It was such a joy just to watch that. Yeah. And then you got to ride a Panzer Hunt. Like, exactly. We definitely played the same demo with that. I was just looking at your Evil Within. It was different. So
I have a question about Wolfenstein for you guys, but before we end it, I apologize for going long, but I just had to ask this. The one thing I did not like at all with that demo and was legitimately pretty unhappy with as a whole was the lack of guns having any really good sound. They were really mixed down.
You're right. Yeah.
And so they were firing, and I could talk. It wasn't like Black where it was so loud. It was actually so far down that you could hear your footsteps over the M. I think in the video footage he has like an M60. He has some. It's not that though, but he has a machine gun. He's like, tat, 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 tat. And I'm like, are you, what the fuck? Yeah. I mean, it was, and when he walked, you could hear like shit crunching under his feet over the gun sounds.
You're entirely right.
No, you're right.
Even the shotguns.
And there are even bits where you have the double shotgun, and
right.
Like, these things are massive, and you expect things like whoosh, and then it's like, pew pew pew.
So it could have been done on purpose. It could have been done on purpose, where they wanted people recording footage that wasn't like in your face. Totally fine with that. If you can level that differently, I'm totally fine with it. I was really shocked by it.
You're right, because there was one point I had these I was dual wielding like these machine pistols, and I think that's actually what it's called. And like I had it on the solo fire, so I was like alternating, like boom boom boom. It was like
yeah.
I'm like, what
weird.
and I'm shooting this big Panzer Hunt that's trying to kill me. I'm like doing nothing to this thing,
no,
and it blows up.
I mean, also with the Panzer Hunt, like that was a really cool moment. I loved it, but the flamethrower, it didn't have that sound effect in there. It was just like
it did. Yeah.
It was like I was standing there with a hose, just like putting out a fire instead.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounded like a outside garden hose versus that scary ass. If you hear a flamethrower, they're scary as fuck.
Oh,
they have a whistle. And they're all, and you can hear them burning air, and you're like, okay, well, absolutely. I don't want to be anywhere near that. So I'm assuming these guys knowing what they know that was done for YouTubers and stuff to get something that wasn't overpowering.
So it's a complete decline from the
first
one.
We'd be in trouble, wouldn't we? So, but it is good to know in a weird way that everybody experienced it, because then it's just like, okay, it's probably leveling. You probably go into the audio and
there were also some other weird glitches that I had, like that starting area where you're swimming through the water. I don't know if you guys ever played Bioshock Remastered, but sometimes when you'd walk through the world, there'd be like random black bars just like flickering on the screen or like coming across where you can't see the gameplay in that particular segment. That happened to me when I was swimming through the water. It was just like a black bar that flashed across for a second as you were going through, and it must have been a glitch with the water animation or something, but that's something that I experienced there. But other than that, like all the previous issues that I had with resolution and not being able to play with the mouse and keyboard, like this game, you need to play with mouse and keyboard. It is too fast paced for me to play on a controller. Some people could probably do it. It's fine. Oh, dude, I can't.
Because I played the first one on Xbox, I was like, let's see how it goes. And yeah, like the initial part when I was playing, like I sucked. I died 3 times in a row. Like I was getting my ass kicked because I just dropped down there, and you'd have to get used to that same type of Wolfenstein gameplay, which is much more fast paced. You know, the dual wielding, changing fire modes. And you know, when you're doing all that on a controller, it's a lot at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty.
Is there an auto aim on the 360 version? I can't remember. Yeah. Where like it's Halo, where you shoot near the guy and it sort of like goes.
Halo has a more of a free reticle, but yeah, it's kind of, I guess, like COD, where like like if you're like he's to the left, and if I aim over here, it's like, you know, it brings me in a little bit. I think it works in the game's favor too, because you're just mowing things down. But I agree with Lone entirely on the cutscene behalf, because like when you're demoing games, I personally feel like it's one of the most distracting places of the game, because you hear so much background noise. There's people talking, asking questions. You're not like in your comfort gaming zone. And so for me, like when I was doing, for example, the strawberry milkshake scene, like I was just like locked in, just like fucking there. So that's like a testament to how good it was. Same thing with the opening cutscene where like he was banging the girl inside the
that was so funny.
I was just like,
what? Like holy shit, is she getting killed in there?
Awesome.
Yeah. It's like, oh, did you need this boat? And
I was like, I started laughing. I was just in my own world at that point. That's how good it was.
That was a great bit. Yeah.
All right, and that will conclude H.A.M Radio Podcast episode 126. Nearing 2 hours. Good job. And any closing words, fellas?
No. We got the comic book cover number 2 coming out for H.A.M. So
no
I've got him working on it. If you guys have any little things that you want added, he's open to it. It'll probably be November, but I was like, it would be cool if we were sitting around a table eating like a turkey or something, you know, like we could do anything. But he's or Christmas. Like, do we want to base it around Christmas?
I have a friend who loves making comics. Risk. You know what I'm talking about? We should have him make like episodes.
Make an actual comic. Yeah.
That'd be so
fucking
crazy.
If you guys have anything in particular that I missed for the first one, or like a motif or something,
anything Bioshock related for me. You know me. That's all
related.
I want. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna clear out this wall right here and just hang up. Like,
dude, he's awesome.
Issue.
Yeah, he does so good. He does. I was thinking one every quarter is probably like, that's know, every 3 to 4 months, because they're not hugely expensive, but I am paying him. But I'm like, I'm a freak for that kind of shit. So I'm just sort of a nerd when it comes to like, somebody can immortalize us. Yeah, let's do that.
Time out. Yeah. No one can see this. Malone, are you wearing a Yankee hat?
Yes, I am.
Oh, fuck.
I don't follow them. I just needed a fucking cool, whatever the hats you call these. Yeah.
Number one, I'm a Mets fan, so you've just put a big division in our friendship. Number two, why does someone in Australia have a Yankee hat? I gotta know.
I told you, I bought it from like a budget. It's fake. I just wanted a hat like this for a summer one time.
Gotcha.
Do you want me to change my hat next podcast?
Yeah. Next week, do not show up with that. I'm gonna tell you what to wear now.
No, he's not. I'm gonna show up in all Yankees fucking stuff. Yankees fucking everything. Glasses, beanie, fucking shirt. It'll just be Yankees.
It's just like a black hat from this direction.
Because you got up and walked off, and he may have seen it when you got up.
Maybe.
Yeah, we should dress up for our Halloween episode the week.
I'll come in. Oh, God.
No, guys, Maddie wasn't here. I said we should all dress up as each other.
No, I've had this idea for so long.
I have your hairdo, by the way. I already bought yours. So,
Karak, you're killing me, bro.
When you weren't gonna be here, I told Lone that I had bought a wig that was of all things, yes, it was a Scooby-Doo wig. But one of my podcasters had a fake beard that he bought, and he wore the beard through the podcast. We should you dress up like Lone, I'll dress up like you. Yeah, we could definitely do
something. I've been like planning for like months that like I'm gonna show up on that podcast wearing a beard, sunglasses, winter hat, and the trainer, and I'm just gonna not say a fucking word and join the call. But he's gonna be like, am I seeing my own picture on the bottom or what?
you need to say, "Hi, I'm Maddie from Mr. Maddie Plays," I would say, "Salutations, everybody. This is Karak from Ace." Like, if we could easily do that. You can cut this if you want so that people don't know we're going to do it.
I'm not going to listen to this shit.
Matt or Lone and I, when you weren't on, I was like, dude, I just found this like wig. It looks a little like him, but and then we were talking about your pajamas, and I was like, oh my God, I could get a good pair. Lone's got his fucking what? That's
Can you guys hear me, or is it muffled?
You gotta be really close.
When you get closer, we can hear you perfectly.
Hello.
For everybody who's not watching, he's wearing something from Borderlands.
I can't wait because I'm doing my Psycho cosplay. It's gonna be fucking sweet.
Very cool.
The cosplaying, is that why you're hitting the gym, bro? Gonna get that like real chiseled upper body.
Yeah. I genuinely am though, because I've got some love handles that I'm not so happy about.
Ah, come on.
Full of love at the moment.
Beautiful.
You're beautiful to us, man.
Thank you, guys.
We're the only one who can fucking see you. Oh yeah, you have a real life. Sorry. I always forget. You gotta get in shape for real people, not the podcast.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's just looking at me like, what the fuck? That's great.
All right. Well, let's wrap this one up. Closing words, or shall I just do the outro?
Let's do the outro. Thank you for joining, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining this far. If you did, use the hashtag Ham Halloween.
Ham Halloween.
It's a good one.
Yeah, Ham Halloween. So if you got this far, let us know. Handles are on screen, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Peace out.